And we are live. Hi, everyone. Hi, I'm Matti Zilahi from GetResponse, and I'm here today with Carlos Gil, who is the new brand ambassador of our company. I'm super pumped to have him here on the sixth episode of the Hot Seat. So, if you have attended one of these before, you already know the rules, but if not, I'm just going to go over them real quick. So, this is a live Q&A, so there is no set agenda. I have some of my own questions, but feel free to ask yours in the chat. And Carlos, who is a digital marketing and branding expert, will try to answer them to the best of his ability. There are no real, rules or anything. Nothing is off limit. So feel free to ask away in the chat. The whole session is recorded, so if you need to tune out, don't worry, because we will send you the recording soon. While you are here, please tell us in the chat where you are joining from, where you are from. I am in the Czech Republic at the moment, in Prague, but I am originally from Hungary. And Carlos, where are you staying at the moment?
So what's going on, everyone? Hello, GetResponse family. It's good to be here on the hot seat. Bring your questions. Let's heat it up. I am based in Jacksonville, Florida, in the United States.
That's great stuff. Anyone else from Florida? I see that.
See, we got Jupiter Island. Okay, so to give those that are watching overseas some insight in terms of where Jacksonville is. So a lot of people know where Miami is, which is in the southern part of Florida. So if you look at Miami on the map and you just go all the way up the northeast coast, we are about 4 hours north of Miami.
Wow. Okay. That's really cool.
Boynton Beach, Wellington. Okay, we have a lot of people from Florida in the house.
Yeah, a lot of people from the US. So that's great. Thank you very much. Thank you for everyone of you for joining.
And, welcome, my fellow Floridians.
Yeah, and let's get this started. So the first and most obvious question is, who are you, Carlos? Can you tell us a bit about yourself and your background?
Absolutely. So great question to tee it off. So my name is Carlos Gil. Once again, I am the U.S. Brand Evangelist for GetResponse. I recently joined GetResponse after the last 15 years working in social media marketing. So my background primarily is in social media marketing within the whole digital marketing ecosystem. I have spent the last 15 years working as both an entrepreneur as well as a corporate marketing professional. Some of the different brands I've had the opportunity to work with as an employee running their social media programs range from Winn-Dixie and Save-A-Lot, which are supermarket chains based here in the United States, as well as LinkedIn. I think most people have heard of LinkedIn before. So I used to work for LinkedIn in a very similar capacity as their social media marketing leader and more so brand evangelist for their social selling or sales solutions business unit. And then I spent time working for a company by the name of BMC Software, where I was running social media globally. Over the last 7 years, I have worked primarily independent. So I've still worked with big brands like Hertz and DocuSign and Western Union. I've also spent a good amount of time on the speaking circuit. So I've spoken at big events like Social Media Marketing World and South by Southwest. I've authored a best-selling book, which you can find on Amazon. The title of my book is The End of Marketing. And I know on this hot seat, we'll go into my marketing theory around humanizing your brand, which is applicable not just in social media, but my theory of humanizing your brand is also highly applicable in email marketing. And over the last 4 years, I've been devoted to growing businesses of my own. So I am a builder. I love to build brands from the ground up. What excited me about this opportunity of coming over to GetResponse is the opportunity to build here in the United States. So everything from building strategic partnerships and growing our brand awareness here in the States is something that excited me a lot. And that's why I'm here. So it's good to be here with you all once again.
That's amazing. Thank you, Carlos. And yeah, I'm super glad that you joined our team. I'm 100% sure that we are going to do great things together. So I'm really looking forward to that. But How did you hear about this opportunity that GetResponse was looking for a brand ambassador?
Yeah,
A brand
absolutely.
ambassador.
So that's an awesome question. I wrote a LinkedIn post about this just a couple of days ago. It's been shared a lot of times. It's received a lot of engagement. One, I want you to encourage, if you're watching this right now, whether live or recorded, go to LinkedIn, look me up, Carlos Gil, GetResponse, invite me to connect. So my connections on LinkedIn are always open, and LinkedIn is a resource that has been instrumental throughout my career, going back to joining LinkedIn in 2008. LinkedIn has helped me meet thousands of professionals from all over the world. It has helped me unlock countless business opportunities, needless to say. And this job with GetResponse is no different. So many months ago, dating back to the end of 2023, I posted on LinkedIn that I was looking to return back to more of a corporate job setting. So again, I had spent a period about 6 or 7 years working independent as a speaker, author, marketing consultant, and then starting two businesses of my own. And I just started getting that itch, the itch of wanting to be a part of an organization, being a part of a team, bringing what has made me successful in previous roles into an organization that's looking to grow. And I was very vocal about that job search. I let my community in a very vulnerable manner know that I was looking for work. And it's tricky, right? Because when you go from being a best-selling author and you're speaking all over the world and you're constantly spotlighting your successes through social media, in people's mind, they think, well, this person has everything figured out and an abundance of opportunities. And to be candid with you, prior to COVID, there was no shortage of opportunities. Prior to COVID, I was able to somewhat pick and choose who I wanted to work with and the clients I wanted to work with. And COVID changed a lot. Primarily, it changed the landscape of the events industry. You have less conferences today than you did prior to 2020. Even on the brand marketing side, a lot of companies have had to reduce their workforce. And because of that, there's just less opportunities for marketing consultants. So I was looking for some stability, and I was very vocal about that. And before I kind of get into how I landed on GetResponse, if you're watching this right now and you're looking for work, my recommendation is that you leverage your LinkedIn, you leverage your social network. You have to let go of pride and ego. And if you're looking for a job, you have to let as many people know, hey, I'm on the job market. I'm a free agent. This is what I'm good at doing. And if you come across any opportunities that fit my skill set, please keep me in mind. And that's exactly what I did. So once I went out with my initial post, I started receiving a flood, and I kid you not, a flood of people messaging me every single day throughout the day, like, hey, I came across this job, or you should talk to this person. It got to a point where it was very overwhelming. And the holidays came and went. And as soon as we came out of the holidays coming into this year, I had interviews scheduled every single day with various companies. This was throughout January and February. And one day I get tagged into a post by a gentleman named Mick Griffin, who I believe used to work for GetResponse. I ironically met Mick when he worked at a company also based in Poland by the name of Brand 24. They're very much involved in the social media space. And again, I come from the social media world, if you will. So Mick had seen from afar the post I was putting on LinkedIn. GetResponse was looking for someone to fill the role that I'm in now. And Mick let me know about the role, tagged me in the post. I reached out to him. He told me a little bit about the company and the background. And then I asked him to make an introduction. He did. And I went through the interview process, which took a couple of months. And here I am many months later. So that is how I arrived to GetResponse. I'll be completely candid with you. I didn't know much, if anything, about the company. I was somewhat hesitant to work for a company in this capacity, to where I'm in the States, the company's over in Europe, I work remote. But as I went through the interview process and I started comparing GetResponse to more traditional marketing jobs working for US based companies, it became very apparent. I believe that based on my skill sets, my experience, my talents, this is where I can make the biggest impact. And at this stage of my career, I could work for a lot of different companies, but in terms of the sense of getting the fulfillment of helping an organization really grow and being able to have the autonomy and the runway to do my job that really taps into my skills as a speaker, as a business influencer, as a thought leader. It was a no-brainer to me that GetResponse was really the best opportunity for me. And again, man, I'm excited. I think there's a lot of opportunity here. We're not a new company by any means. We've been around over 25 years. We're a pioneer in the email marketing industry. We have over 400,000 customers around the world, right? That speaks volumes. So, again, even though it's a company that's not as known here in the States by marketers, I see the opportunity and the challenge in that to change that very, very quickly.
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I mean, like, I'm obviously super happy that you joined. And, but I'm also really excited about what you said, that you basically leverage your social media presence to not only to land this job with GetResponse, but to basically just fill your schedule with interviews. So I'm really curious, what do you think, how like either like a solopreneur or like a small business can effectively leverage social media and the power it has, because obviously it has like immense power. But what do you think, what's the best way to like start building your social media presence?
There's three key topics or themes, if you will, that whether you're a small business owner, a solopreneur, or an enterprise brand, these themes are applicable across the board, and it's educate, inspire, and entertain. So in the talks that I do, I always have this slide that breaks down these three themes, because there's this misconception that the whole purpose of social media is broadcasting and producing content, right? We've all heard the saying content is king. And what's really king in social media is community. But it takes a while to build a community. You have to start from the ground up and you have to build, right? Community is not something that happens overnight. And a lot of marketers, business owners, especially who naturally are not marketers themselves, they become very frustrated with this reality that it might take you years of consistently posting the same amount of content every single day and engaging in comments, and little by little you build a community, right? When you see these large followings, these influencers, for example, that have large followings of social media, they didn't get their following overnight. They didn't get their following by posting one video on YouTube or one viral TikTok. It was over a period of time. It was consistency. So every single solopreneur, small business owner, enterprise marketer, the ability to educate. People are gravitating platforms like Instagram and TikTok today and YouTube because they're going there with the purpose of, yes, they're going there to network, but they're going there to also learn. These are platforms that you can learn through micro content within 15 to 30 seconds, potentially a new skill set. So in our world of email marketing, for example, and just B2B, we should really strive to use these mediums to teach other business owners, marketers, users of our product how to use these mediums to help people be more effective in using email marketing versus talking about goods, products, and services. So that, for one, is right out of the bat. Anyone that's using social media needs to use these platforms to teach their followers how to use their goods, products, and services. That's one. Inspiration. People gravitate to inspirational content that feels good. Entertainment. People gravitate to content that has music. It has eye-catching visuals. It's not overly lengthy, but it's not really short. The good balance is 15 to 30 seconds when you're doing video content. So having a theme is important. Humanizing your brand through people is an absolute critical must. In my keynotes that I do, I have this slide where I often compare the state of social media marketing today to online dating. In the world of online dating, people are swiping very fast to find a match based on individuals that they find attractive to their taste. Marketing online is no different. You have so much information that's being fed at you in real time that instinctively you're going to stop and engage with the content that you find appealing to you. And if a consumer finds content to represent an ad of any kind, they're going to continue to swipe and they're going to ignore it. Whereas if you put a human face and voice behind a brand, they're more likely to stop what they're doing and at least look at the content. And then three, I think this is the most critical aspect of what I've mentioned so far is storytelling, right? And this aligns very much with educate, inspire, and entertain, along with humanizing your brand. It's taking people through a progression or a gradual story. So let's take solopreneurs or small business owners, for example. Those individuals oftentimes are wearing multiple hats throughout their organization or throughout their company, but they also have content that's relatable, right? In the last 4 years, I started an e-commerce business. I know a lot about marketing. I'd never started an e-commerce business before in my life, much less be able to scale a business using social media of my own versus that of a client. So in the 2 years that I was running my e-commerce business, there was a lot of content that I was creating to help other entrepreneurs learn about how to scale and build a brand, an e-commerce brand using social media. In the 2 years since that, I went off to start up a brick and mortar sneaker resale business. Same thing. I'd never started a brick and mortar business of my own before, but there's a lot of learnings in that I'm still able to teach today to anyone that's getting in. And much of that is just using, a cell phone, using Instagram to talk about the journey. So a lot of folks seem to think that when using social media, you always need to make it about the brand, the brand, the brand. And the reality is if you make it about the people, so the people behind the brand or the people who are buying and supporting the brand, and when you make it about people and less about products, now you're connecting with people on a human level. And that's not so much marketing. That's just more so connecting human to human. And this is something, again, that, I've spoken about at length countless times, dozens of keynotes. And in my book, Then to Marketing, I make those connections between taking the veil off of being a brand that's just known as a logo and instead be known as a brand that's made up of people.
Yeah, it makes absolute sense. Do you think there are some businesses that are more different to humanize? Like, for example, if I'm a solopreneur and I'm like offering some kind of service, it makes a lot of sense for me to record a couple of YouTube videos with my face on it, record a couple of TikToks. That's all well and good. But for example, even GetResponse, how do you humanize a brand and that is about like so it's so product centric? For example, GetResponse, how do you put a face, or like how do you put an actual human connection into that mix when
Well, we're doing it right here, right now,
yeah.
right, with the hot seat. So we both work for GetResponse. We both have roles within the organization, and it's very easy to get lost in those roles and never let the world know what it is that we do or who we are as people. But I can guarantee you that the more that companies start putting the spotlight on their employees, that's going to resonate with other professionals in the space because now you have a person that you know on the inside that you can go to, right? You have someone that's able to speak about the brand. And again, especially in B2B, it's easy for me to look at a software company and know automatically what this software company does, regardless of the name. But the people within that organization are almost more valuable than the product itself because we gravitate to people that we like and we relate to and that we trust. And that's, again, when you talk about marketing human to human, that's often lost in B2B because you're constantly promoting services and products, and it doesn't feel human at all. It feels like, again, you're just kind of walking people through this lead nurturing cycle of top of the funnel awareness, and then you get people in through the middle. Like, I'm sorry, man, I'm gonna just say it, like, F that. We can't be operating as marketers as, thinking of people that they're just another number and they're in a funnel. If I meet you at a conference and I ask you directly, who do you use for an email service provider? And you tell me, I'm going to ask you, what do you like and what do you not like about your service provider? And then you're going to tell me. And at that point, I'm going to say, well, have you ever thought about using GetResponse? And you're going to tell me either, yes, I've used them in the past, or no, I've never used them before. All right, cool. Like, hey, here's a link for you to sign up. Like, sign up for a free trial. Let me know what you think. That's a very different delivery than I need to get you on a webinar to learn about the product. And then I need to nurture you. And then I need to take you through all these steps. And then I need to send you an ebook and you need to listen to this and do this. Like, I believe, again, that's the aspect of marketing that has alienated, and this isn't just for us or B2B, this is just marketing in general, right? I've been in the digital marketing space since 2008 to see this progress. I've worked in B2C organizations. I've worked in B2B organizations. I've had my own businesses. I am a personal brand. It's all the same thing. Regardless of what you sell or what you do, this is all the same game. And it's a numbers game. It's engaging with a lot of people. It's being personable, getting to know people, being accessible. Like if there's anyone here right now that wants to connect with me, let's connect, right? Let's stay in touch. Let me know what challenges you're facing, whether it's with our product or whether it's with a competitor's product. I don't care. I'm here to help you, right? So I think, again, when you operate in that sort of servant mindset, even if you work in sales and marketing and you're accessible to people, now you're building likability, you're building relatability, you're building marketability. But just telling people, hey, we've got this product that won this Gartner Magic Quadrant Award, and like we've got this ebook, and we want you to learn about this, and we want you to do all these different steps. Oh, that's got to go out the window, especially in this AI era that we're in.
Oh yeah, I definitely want to ask you about that. But before we go into the AI stuff, what you said about like providing information, providing knowledge, basically for free of charge. This is something that's coming up a lot in these hot seat sessions. Like last time we had an episode with Steve Todd, who
Okay.
is an SEO professional, and he said that he has this approach that he basically tries to share as much of his secrets with the world as he can, because he knows that if he provides this much value to his community, it will be rewarded. Maybe not today, maybe not tomorrow, but down the line, it will be rewarded with new customers,
100%.
with new opportunities. Yeah. So yeah, I definitely resonate with that. But now there is something that you mentioned, that you wrote a best-selling book, right? Which is
Yep.
about the how you can humanize brands, and it is a really catchy title. The title of the book is "The End of Marketing," right?
Correct.
Can you tell us about what you are teaching in that book? What are the
Yeah.
main
So I just want
principles?
I just want to pause real quick because you're probably seeing my hands here wrestling around. So I actually just went live on my Instagram at Carlos Gil 83, just so those that follow me, they can partake in this, because I think this is a great discussion, and these discussions need to happen
Great, thank you.
more. These discussions absolutely need to happen more over time. So I wrote the book, The End of Marketing. I actually sat down at the beginning of 2019 and wrote it. And the book itself was, and very much is, a culmination of, at that point in my career, spending 10 years working in digital and social media marketing for big brands. And what I realized throughout the 10 years up to that point, before I came out into marketing, is that marketers themselves are very much disconnected from how marketing today is done. And what I mean by that is that marketers are always operating based off of KPIs. They're trying to get as many conversions, leads, clicks, impressions. But what they're losing sight of is the power of community and the power of humanizing your brand through people. So I would much rather make people the faces of my brand any day of the week than a product, because people buy from people. People trust people. The reason why influencers even exist today is because people have tuned out commercials on their TV, no different than they've tuned out Facebook ads and Instagram ads. So when I sat down, wrote the End of Marketing at the beginning of 2019, I was starting to introduce this theory that AI will eventually disrupt everything that we know about business. There will be AI influencers. There already is. There will be AI marketers. There already is, right? And it's called ChatGPT. And there's a lot of other tools out there that are removing the human element out of marketing. So I don't want to necessarily spoil the whole book for you,
Yeah, of course.
because the whole book is very much, there's a storytelling aspect to it, right? I am not a technical marketer by any means. Right? I'm very much, it's black and white. this is how you can get things done. And I use a lot of, analogies, pop culture analogies to get people to relate to how to do marketing, right? So I'm not necessarily a technical marketer. It's going to be in the weeds and kind of break things down for you. I'm going to just tell you, like, this is the easiest way you can get something done. So like I broke down for you earlier, if you want to do B2B marketing, don't take people through a funnel, just go direct to addressing the pain point and connect the need with the solution. But how to do that is through human beings, right? So in this era that we're in of AI and algorithms and noisy social media, relying on what has always historically worked from an advertising standpoint is not going to work anymore. It doesn't work anymore, right? You have so many marketers that are looking at their Instagram accounts, asking themselves, well, why is my engagement so low? Why is my reach so low? Well, take a look at the content that you're posting. If every time that you show up with a new post, that content itself is sales and marketing oriented, well, it's driving people away. There's no value there for them. So let's get back to the basics of why people are going on social. They're going on social to socialize. Put a fun element into this. Speak to your community. Ask your community questions. Provide them solutions. Provide them education. Provide them inspiration. Provide them entertainment. This is a very simple concept that has been lost. I don't want to necessarily say by younger marketers, because at one point in my career, in my 20s, I was, a millennial marketer and always trying to do different activations and bring a cool element to marketing. But I realized that as you go up the line in most organizations, there's a more and more and more of a disconnect. So when I sat down and wrote the end of marketing, I was thinking about a younger version of myself. I was thinking about a younger marketer that could use this as a guide. But then the flip side to that is there's an element of the book that's intended to help marketers and readers future-proof their careers. And what I mean by this is that the best way to counteract AI is going to be by you building a brand for yourself. So being a brand within a brand. At GetResponse, Carlos Gil is a brand within GetResponse, right? You are a brand within GetResponse. You start looking at different organizations, right? Like, let's just say Starbucks, right? I don't want to hear from Starbucks corporate. I love coffee. I don't want to hear from Starbucks corporate when they post. I want to hear from a barista internally at the organization, right? I want to hear from someone at Nike who's into fashion. I don't want to hear from Nike, the brand. Just throwing some examples. And this is what I bring readers through that progression is, as we become accustomed to influencers being how we receive our message, right? The relationship between a brand and a consumer will continue to get more fragmented. So brands, in order to future-proof and stay in business and stay relatable, they will have no choice to make other humans the face of their brand. Like, no different than how GetResponse has brought me in to help humanize their brand, right? Other corporations have already started to follow suit, and they will continue to do so as well. But for professionals who are also facing the challenges of right now, there's a lot of job openings, but there's a mass influx of candidates. Well, how do you stand out? It's by having a brand of your own, right? We're an email marketing company. Having a newsletter of your own, having a social media following, having your own podcast, doing things like we're doing here, going live. These are all competitive advantages that you as a professional have that brings value to the organization that you work for. So again, end of marketing is twofold. It's a marketing Bible, so to speak, to help brands humanize, be more relatable, more approachable, but also on the flip side, it's a marketing Bible to help readers themselves become more human, more personable in building their own brands.
Got it. Yeah. So this basically means that if you are like a solopreneur or a small business owner, you have to be the number one influencer of your own brand, right?
That is correct.
Yeah. This is really cool. Yeah. And do you think it should? So, for example, let's say that I start my own business. Should I like focus on putting my face on the business and building the brand of my business, or should I also start building my personal brand which is separate from my business?
That's actually a really good question. So you could either build the business around you being the face, or you could build a business around your customers being the face. So I'll give you an example. 2 years ago, I co-founded a sneaker resale store called the Hype Section up the street from where I live in Jacksonville. And in full disclosure, I'm not a sneakerhead by any means, but I saw a need to bring a business into my community. And knowing what I know about marketing and my theory about how to grow a business through marketing, instead of being like every other boutique and sneaker store that's posting about the same sneakers and the same clothing, I said, you know what? We're going to do exactly what I have taught for years and use my book, then, to marketing as the playbook for how we're going to scale this company. When people come into the store, they're excited, they buy a new pair of shoes, we're going to take a photo of them. We're going to put
So
that
you
photo on our
actually
Instagram.
put it to the test. What you
Yeah, I
what you
put it
have
through the
done.
test.
So
We're gonna put those customers on Instagram. We're gonna tag them on Instagram. We're gonna get them to promote us to their followers, which are also people that live in the community. So again, it's such a simple concept that gets lost in translation because businesses and marketers are constantly looking for instant return on investment or ROI. They're looking for immediate results. And I just got to say it for what it is. There is no instant ROI, there's no instant results. Even if you get a viral video on a platform like TikTok, yes, you might see a spike in engagement and a spike in sales for a very brief moment in time, but that itself is not sustainable. Not every post is going to go viral. Not every post is going to go ahead and drive a lot of sales your way. There's consistency here. And again, going back to your question about strategy, I would always roll the dice first on humanizing my brand through the people that are buying and supporting my business, then putting the camera on myself and making the whole business about myself. Unless you're a business coach, you're a marketing thought leader, a business thought leader of some sort, a financial advisor, right? If you're in some sort of service-based business where people are coming to buy from you because you're an expert in your field, that's different. Build the brand around you. But if you are in for example, a retail business, a restaurant, even here in B2B, make the content about your end user.
yeah, got it. Thank you for your detailed answer. I think we can't beat around the bush anymore, and I have to ask you what you think about AI and how what do you think how AI can be inserted into this whole equation?
I thought you were going to throw a curveball at me the way you teed it up, saying we can't beat around the bush anymore. Like that's a very easy question, my man.
Sorry about
Look,
that.
I think AI is great from the standpoint of it helps to get more things done in a faster amount of time. I love ChatGPT. I love tools like the Captions app. There's a lot of use cases that are all over the web, but at a very bare minimum to be able to get things done. Like I've never been someone, for example, that has spent a lot of time in Excel. You can literally have ChatGPT create an Excel document for you. A fully functional Excel document that you can import into Excel. There's so many different use cases: copywriting, authoring emails. We are an email service provider. So I just did a talk last week in Atlanta at an event called Inbox Expo, and a couple of the slides was about cringy content versus captivating content, right? Content that converts. Use ChatGPT. Lean on ChatGPT more to do some of the heavy lifting that otherwise you would outsource to a marketing agency. I think a lot of marketers are running away from AI because they hear right the all the rumors and talk around AI being responsible for eliminating thousands of jobs. And guess what? That's going to happen. You're not going to be able to stop it. We will be at a point where I'm more than certain within the next 10 years, we have robots that are doing real jobs that humans do. But I'll tell you what, the person behind the AI being you, the human, you just gotta be the one that's the puppeteer, right? Pulling the strings, pressing the buttons. You can't be the one that's allowing AI to do everything for you. You have to tell AI what to do. So even something as simple as ChatGPT, when I do my talks and I train other marketers on how to use ChatGPT, ChatGPT is just a language model, right? It can essentially do work for you, but you need to tell it what you want it to do. There's still a human element. There's still human smarts in telling AI what it is that you need. And it's not as simple as just saying, well, I run social media for a brand and I want you to write a content calendar for the next 30 days worth of social media content. The AI might write some content for you, but it's not going to know who your customer is. You have to still tell them who your customer is. You still have to program ChatGPT to know the voice and tone of your brand, who it is that you're trying to appeal to, what your objectives are, what you want the content to be written about. Like there's still strategy that goes into this. And for anyone that's spent time working with a marketing agency, or if you've managed direct reports at organizations and you sit down in the huddle and you're giving them direction, it's that element is very similar to how you work with AI.
Yeah, I completely agree with what you said, but I'm going to play devil's advocate here for a
Please
second,
do.
because one of the main concerns about AI, what I hear from a lot of sources, is that it creates bland content. It just creates content for the sake of content. And if you, for example, use ChatGPT to help with your LinkedIn presence, for example, and just have ChatGPT generate like 100 LinkedIn posts and you just post them out, it's going to be like super saturated, low quality content. So how do you combat that? How do you ensure that it's still like that you are using the AI tool, but it doesn't take over, in a way?
People are thinking too deep into this. Like most influencers that you see all over social media, they're all using ChatGPT to generate their captions and their content. Like again, there's still a human element to this. You still have to get on video and record a video. You still have to tell ChatGPT what it is that you're trying to accomplish. You know, are there elements of having ChatGPT ghostwrite copy? Like, yeah, absolutely. But people can also sniff that out. So I think there's a fine balance there. Over time, people A/B test no different than I have, and they figure out like, all right, when I just ask ChatGPT to write something random for me, it doesn't know my voice and tone. It doesn't know anything about me. So it's just writing content. It doesn't sound like me. But if I take, let's just say, a Microsoft Word document and I go ahead and I write an entire blog post in my voice and tone, and I just ask ChatGPT, hey, where do you think I can improve this? Where are the key takeaways? Can you add an opening hook to get readers' attention? Right? There's a balance there between using ChatGPT to do the work for you versus being your sidekick or your assistant. And I think it's just over time, you're gonna find that fine balance, right? It's just it's gonna happen. And people are going to use it as a tool. And 10 years from now, no one's going to be looking back and saying, you know, man, like I wish I didn't use AI. It's already been a big part of how we do business. It's just now being talked about more in this very mythical, mystic kind of way. And you know, marketers like me are trying to demystify it and just say, look, this is a tool at the end of the day, but you still have to do the work, you know, behind the tool.
Yeah, I agree with you 100%. And it's also something that's already been integrated to GetResponse, for example.
Right.
So now we have the AI campaign generator, for example, which creates like entire landing pages and landing page copy with the help of AI. It has AI email generator that helps you generate the first draft of your email. And the thing that I like to say about this to our customers is that it's not necessarily it shouldn't necessarily be used to to just like mass generate these newsletters. It should be used to get over the writer's block. It should be used to help you brainstorm, to come up with new angles or new ideas. So yeah, I agree. You need to find this fine balance, but I agree that if you use the tools often, then you will find this balance eventually. Um, Now there is another thing that we have talked about a lot. That you obviously are an expert on social media. You obviously know how to build your brand and put your name out there. But you are also an expert in networking, I would say. You are great at attracting people, attracting like either like business people or people from like professional setting, or either people who are like completely different words. For example, like I've seen some of your LinkedIn posts with Yarul, the rapper. So so you are obviously great in like connecting with others on like a
Mhm.
real personal level, and I'm curious if what's your secret, if you even have one.
Oh man, such a loaded question. Such a good
Yeah.
question too. So first of all, there's no secret at all, man. Um, just be real. There's so many people in this world, man, that they hide behind the facade. And I think this is what social media has created, at least in my generation, right? So I'm a millennial, now you've got Gen Z. So I've kind of seen this happen throughout my generation and even younger generation. I have kids that are in high school. One of them just graduated and they're Gen Zers. And I think like social media, what it does is it creates this facade, this like larger than life persona who we really aren't. And like I fell a victim to this even like early on in my career, right? Like Snapchat came out many years ago and I'd never experienced any sort of internet fame, if you will, until Snapchat came out and a lot of people were watching my content. It was kind of overwhelming. And I felt like, okay, like I have to continue to be this larger than life character who I'm really not in real life. And it's just over the years, whenever I find myself at a conference, for example, like I've been very blessed from the standpoint of I've been able to travel the world for free because of my career. So I've been invited to speak all over Europe and South America and all over the United States as a speaker. So again, I've been able to go to these countries and these states and not have to pay for it at all, which is a blessing in its own right. But whenever I'm in these markets, I'm trying to maximize the opportunity. So if I go to a conference, I want to feel like, okay, I just spent 3 or 4 days away from my family. There's some sort of justification here, and it's not just business. Again, like so many people are transactional and they're constantly operating of this mindset of what can I get out of someone, right? I will give you an example, or just a very personal, like real life example. Like my son just graduated high school and I've let him know over the last couple of months throughout your life as you become an adult and you enter the workforce, you're going to meet a lot of people that the only reason why they come around is because they want something from you. They need something from you. And over time, you're going to identify who's real and who's not, who is only in your life because they're trying to get something from you versus someone who's actually genuine. And again, like there's no secret to this element of networking. But whenever I go to a conference, I just want to connect with down to earth people, man. Like people that want to win, people that are trying to get up in their businesses. I operate with very much a servant mindset. Case in point, I landed here at GetResponse through someone that I met 7 or 8 years ago when I was at a different stage of my life. They were at a different stage of theirs. They're at a completely different company now. So, what I will say is that there are people in this world right now that hold the keys to your success. And there are people right now that hold the keys to open up doors that otherwise you would not be able to open up on your own. No matter how talented you are, no matter how well connected you are, no matter how much money you have, you just can't do it on your own. Like you can't dominate the world by yourself. You depend on other people, you depend on relationships. I learned early on when I started up my marketing agency in 2017. I spent about a year before I left my corporate job back then. And I just started letting everyone in my network kind of quietly know, hey, eventually I'm going to be going out on my own. Keep me in mind if you need any freelance work or if you need any sort of social media consulting that I can do, on the side, right? That's activating your network, but it takes time to get there. So this is a very long way of answering your question. I don't know if I necessarily answered it or not. There's
I
no
think you did.
secret. There's no growth hack. It takes time to build a brand. It takes time to build relationships, and building the right relationships is key. There are countless people that I've connected with over the years on LinkedIn that I've never spoken to again, but then I see them 10 years later at a conference and they have followed my work, loosely have followed theirs, and we're able to pick up and see if there's any sort of way that we can exchange value. And, I think value exchange is something that needs to be talked about more in professional settings, right? Uh, think less about what you can get out of someone and think more about what you can do to give to that person And at some point down the road, you might need something from them, right? But always operate in that mind frame of what can I give to somebody?
That's amazing advice. I actually only have one question left, because you've been such an amazing guest that you pretty much answered all of my questions, even though I didn't ask a lot of them. But I'm curious if you have any advice to someone who is just like starting their own business or starting their journey in digital marketing. What would be the number one thing that you would advise them?
It's okay to ask for help. I would say that's number one. If you are starting your own business, it is 1000% okay to be vulnerable and ask others to help you. So many times as professionals, we feel that if we have to fake it until we make it. And I hate that saying. If there's one saying I hate in business is fake it until you make it. I don't think you need to fake anything. You need to find the right people that can help you make it. And you need to learn as well, right? There's only so much that people can do for you. You need to learn also how you can do certain things. My marketing knowledge at the very beginning of my digital marketing career was all self-taught, right? I would sit on a computer just like I'm doing right now. I'd go on YouTube, I'd watch keynotes from Gary Vee, I'd feel really pumped up. And then through trial and error, would try something out and see if it didn't work, right? And then what did work, I would do more of it. What didn't work, I wouldn't do it, or I would revisit it in a different way. So asking for help is something that absolutely is key. Trying things out until you get the desired result, absolutely key. Um, Build relationships. Let as many people that you can possibly know that you have a business. That's the other thing as well. People aren't going to buy from you if they don't know what you do. Right? So many times, and I've gone through this in my own career. I've seen other colleagues. You work a job and you're kind of bashful that you have a side hustle because you don't want your employer to know that you have a side hustle. Well, let your employer know that you have a side hustle, right? Maybe they'll even want to support your side hustle. Maybe there's people within your organization that will support your side hustle. Let as many people in on what you're working on, and you'd be surprised. Like, people always want to help someone starting off. They always want to help the underdog. Like, once you've already kind of made it in your career, there's less people that want to help you, and there's more people that want to gravitate and attach to your success. But when you're just starting off, there are a lot of people that want to help you out, just because, again, there's a good feeling in helping someone. And the real growth hack, the real secret that I'll tell you is that once you kind of hit, I'm not like super old, but I've been around for a while in my career. Once you get to a certain stage of your career, to where you've accomplished a decent amount of success, you realize that none of this was done on your own. There's people that helped you along the way. So there's a certain sense of pride in sending the elevator back down to help someone else come up.
That's that. I mean, I'm lost for words. I think it's a beautiful closing statement. But if you have anything else you would like to add, or if you said that you are also streaming it on Instagram, so if there are any comments there, we can talk about those. But we can also wrap it up if you have nothing you would like to add.
You've got me for another 12 minutes. So if you want to keep throwing me some really tough questions,
Yeah, of course.
Since we're on the hot seat, I can keep going.
Okay.
I just want to call up anyone has any questions, drop it here in the chat. Make sure if you're on LinkedIn, let's connect. If you're on Instagram, let's connect there as well. I'll drop my handle here in the chat. It's at Carlos Gil 83. And again, man, going back to brand building, being accessible, that's another kind of key point that I want to bring up. Every talk that I do, the first thing I do when I get started with a keynote is I have a slide on the screen where everyone that's in the audience, they can see it. It's got my phone number on there. It's got my email address. It has my social media handles. And I tell everyone before I speak, I'm probably not going to have time to answer questions at the end of this. So connect with me. Let's stay in touch. If there's anything I can do for you, let me know. And again, man, building a brand is no different than building a business. You have to let people know that you're open for business. You have to let people know that you're open to connecting. And the more that you do that, the more likable you become to others naturally.
Yeah, of course, because yeah, this kind of ties back to what we have talked about, like like sharing your expertise, being open for others, being open to connect with. So yeah, definitely something that's you know worth remembering. Um, we haven't talked about mistakes though. So you have seen a lot of businesses. You have started your own businesses. You have been around, and I'm sure that you have seen a lot of like common pitfalls, maybe that marketers or like small businesses make. Could you like tell us about those?
Yeah, I think mistakes is good. It's actually good to make mistakes because you learn from those mistakes, and then the key is not to make them again. I'd say a big mistake that a lot of businesses make is they leave their customers ignored. They're not developing dialogue with their customers. People don't want to be ignored; they want to be heard. And just because someone's a customer today doesn't mean that they're a customer for life. Right? The same way that you got them is the same way that you can lose them very quickly. So I would say that's a common mistake, whether you're a marketer or a business owner, that people make is they're using social mediums to promote and post content, but they're not doing a good enough job of listening to what's being said about their brand or their competition or their industry. And I often say that social networks are the best search engine to find customers because within a couple clicks, you can find someone that either needs your services or you can find someone that has had a bad experience with your competition. There's no shortage of customers out there, but you need to find them. And it starts with ensuring that you're responding to direct messages whenever someone's reaching out to your business, you're engaging with them, you're providing them with solutions.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with you 100%. I'm just thinking about like there was one thing that you mentioned that caught my attention. Um, that like that making mistakes is good. Uh, what do you mean by that? Because yeah, that's really
Well, so
statement.
failure and mistakes are part of life. I don't know anyone that's perfect. Like, do you?
Um, well, not really.
No,
Personally, I
like I
don't know
really
any.
don't know I don't know a single person. Brands, like we all make mistakes. It happens. It's a part of life. It's a part of business. But the key is learning from those mistakes. And I'll give you an example. It might be something as basic as a marketing campaign that flops. Right? There's learnings in terms of why something flopped, why something didn't work out. So you can either look at it as the glass half empty or half full, right? You can look at failure and mistakes as what they are, which is you came up short of your objective, or you can look at it as a learning lesson. And I rather be always on the side of learning because no one will ever be perfect, but to get pretty damn good and close to it, you have to stumble and fall a couple times and get up and dust yourself off and keep moving forward and just learn from those experiences.
Thank you for your answer. We have a question from
Sure.
Melanie in the chat. I'm just trying to put it on the chat.
If you're a small team or company, what avenues do you feel are the best to focus on as a marketing team of one? It gets overwhelming to try to hit all the marks. And of course, you don't do any of them justice when you spread yourself so thin. So that's a very good question, Melanie. Actually, I'm going to screenshot that because I am going to end up posting content about this. So thank you. That being said, pick the one or two social networks where you can get the biggest ROI or the biggest return on your time that you spend. I don't know what your company does, but if you are, let's say in B2B, maybe it's just focusing on LinkedIn and nothing else, right? You're putting all of your time and your energy into one social network versus trying to spread yourself across 405. Email marketing, right? Needless to say, owning your data versus renting your data is highly critical, especially in this era that we're in. Like again, going back to what excites me about working for an email service provider is the fact that I come from the social media side where engagement is declining, reach is declining. Owning your data, even if you have a small amount, a much smaller amount of email subscribers versus social media followers, right? The email subscribers any day are worth more than the social media followers. So, again, having a balance in terms of how you promote content on social that drives people back to email, I would say start with that. Pick one social network that's going to give you the biggest return on time and energy spent to drive people to your email marketing newsletter. And then your email marketing newsletter is where you drive people back to connect and buy from your brand.
Yeah, thank you, and thank you, Melanie, for asking this really insightful question. And what you did at the when I pulled up the question and you screenshotted it, you're basically doing basically just demonstrating live what you've been talking about, like listening to
For
questions,
sure.
listening to your audience, and just trying to provide them with value. So yeah, it's really cool seeing it in action. Um, yeah, last question from me. Do you have any like specific tools that you would recommend aside from GetResponse? Because
Aside from GetResponse, tools I would recommend, I've always been a fan of organic social media. There are a good number of tools out there that can help you schedule content in advance, such as Agora Pulse, Sprout Social. Those are always some of my go-to platforms. I'd say right now, like the tool that you absolutely need to be using in your business is ChatGPT. There's nothing else. If ChatGPT went away tomorrow, I would be very sad. And I am a big fan because it's not just a tool that serves a singular purpose, right? Once you actually understand the ins and outs of ChatGPT, it's not just using ChatGPT to write social posts or email copy, but it streamlines and makes business move a lot faster. So I would say it's my favorite tool. Video editing, I love Captions app. So I'd say again, ChatGPT, Captions, Sprout Social, Agora Pulse. Those right now are my go-to, and of course, GetResponse.
amazing. I'm actually just looking for a video. Let me see if I can find it. I'm just going to send here in the chat. This is a webinar that we did a couple of months ago, and it was actually about AI and ChatGPT and how solopreneurs can leverage AI. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you should definitely check that out. Okay, we have one last question from Orihara. What is your opinion about using AI bots?
I have a love-hate relationship with AI bots because there's only so much that the AI bot can do. Like a lot of websites nowadays, for example, like Shopify-based websites, they have integrations where you can go and you can track your order, right? That's great. It's simple, but when you need to speak to someone, it's like pulling teeth. There's so many businesses nowadays that they don't have that human touch. So I would say, again, love-hate relationship, AI bots, they can only get so much done, but you still need people. And that's the whole premise behind the end of marketing. When you get to the very end of the book, I won't spoil it for you, but when you get to the very end of the book, I have a very real, raw sentiment analysis, which AI will never replace people. And the reason why they will never replace people is because as human beings, we relate to other human beings. We can't relate to a computer program. We can't relate to a robot, nor can a robot relate to us, right? So it's all about humanizing your brand through people. I think that's a good closing note. If you're relying too much on AI, you will, in theory, work yourself out of a job. You will rely too much on systems that make your brand less personable, less human. As people, we relate to other people, we buy from other people. Always make your strategy wherever you sit as a business owner, solopreneur, marketer, B2B, B2C, it's all the same thing. Focus on building relationships. And as long as you're focusing on building relationships, as long as you're building community, then you will always be in business. You will never be out of business if you have people in your corner supporting you.
Amazing. Beautiful closing statement. Thank you, Carlos. Thank you very much for being here. I really enjoyed our talk. I'm really looking forward to all the great things that you will do here at GetResponse. And hopefully we will also see you again live, right? I
For
know
sure,
that
anytime.
you are planning something. You are planning something on your own, like a webinar, which is coming up in the next couple of weeks, right?
Absolutely. More to
Yeah.
come on
So
that.
yeah, so we will definitely keep you in the loop. And thank you everyone for tuning in today. We'll send you the recording shortly. And have a great rest of your week. Thank you. Bye.